So as you might be able to tell by the Northern Lights picture, I'm here in Norway in a log cabin, and I'm starting this video now from the future because a bunch of stuff kind of went wrong. And you'll see some of those things going wrong in the future on future videos. But the first thing that went wrong was actually something that a lot of you guys were saying was a wrong decision. I'd been hemming and hawing about getting the Canon EOS RP since it was announced. And then when I got to Singapore, just before I got to Singapore, I was sure I wasn't gonna get it. You guys had convinced me that I don't need it, I shouldn't bother, it wasn't gonna improve anything. And then I went and checked the price of the Canon EOS RP in Singapore, and it was only $1,100 US. So it was $200 cheaper than it is in the US. It ended up being like 400 or 500 pounds cheaper than in the UK. It was just too cheap not to get, so I done got it. I got the Canon EOS RP in Singapore, and I'm actually really stoked that I did because I'm loving it. It's way better than I expected. It's far better than I expected actually, and I had planned on doing this in a very linear chronological factor where I unbox the camera in Singapore, then I show you some video footage getting back to the UK, then some photo examples in the UK, and then some video footage coming here to Norway. But what happened is I filmed the unboxing in Singapore, and then I realized that I forgot to turn the autofocus on. And once you've unboxed something, you can never unbox it again. So that whole kind of start of this video is scrapped. But before I get into the meat of this video, I will talk quickly about my first thoughts about the Canon EOS RP. The first thought is about the size, because it is tiny, it is light. Physically, it feels almost like the M50. It's maybe like a beefier M50. It's got the same sort of grip, it's got the same sort of feel, it's got the same sort of look, same sort of ergonomics. It almost feels like you took a 6D Mark II and smashed it down into an M50 body, and I actually really like that. I also love that they brought back the wheel so that you can change the mode types right on top there. Unlike on the EOS R where you have to press the mode button and then info to switch between video, or mode button and then pick your mode. I find that quite annoying. I do like the dial. Getting back to the size, it is tiny. There was a lot of people complaining that it was probably gonna be too small and that they wouldn't be able to hold it properly. I don't think you can get 4 fingers on as a grown person without really squeezing. So you can. I have quite small hands, not like maybe Donald Trump's small hands, but they are quite small, but they definitely have to squeeze on. But having just like 2 fingers on the grip, 1 on the trigger, and then 1 underneath is actually really quite comfortable. I'm not finding that weird or awkward at all. It kind of fits in my hand really naturally. So the ergonomics of it, I'm really not finding to be a problem at all. I definitely don't think you need that little extension thing on the bottom unless you do have massive hands. The other thing is I did buy the 17 to 40 millimeter just because I wanted a second wide angle lens, because I was finding it kind of frustrating with my EOS R switching back and forth wide angle to 24 to 70 when I needed to take stills with the wide angle. So I bought this cheap 17 to 40 millimeter lens as well to vlog with. This is essentially my new vlog setup, Canon EOS RP, 17 to 40 millimeter f4. And now I'm going to take you back to the past as Jody and I are making the trip, well, here via England and via some RP footage and some RP photos. Nothing would remain and you don't wanna go. So go, 'cause you're picking your place, no time to waste. I wanna love you. So I'm filming now on the EOS RP, as well as a 17 to 40 millimeter f4 lens I bought here. No image stabilization, handheld, and I'm gonna be filming this way till the end of this episode. I have a confession to make though. I have been filming on the RP for 2 days. So if you have seen my Singapore content, it was all shot on the RP. If you haven't seen my Singapore content, you want to see what it looks like on the RP, go and check out that footage. There's a link up here. We're at the airport, as I mentioned, and we're gonna fly back to London. You can't stay here and waste away. You need to taste every mistake, fall out and get up again and again. Okay, quickly 2 things before we board this plane that I've noticed just on the back of the camera from shooting the past couple days. The first is I think the image stabilization on the RP is actually better than it was on the R. Maybe it's more like the enhanced version, but I don't notice as much warping.
it definitely seems more stable. In fact, both this lens and the 24-105, I haven't feel like the footage has been bouncy at all, which is a really good sign. I've been going gimbal free, and I don't think I've missed the gimbal that much. The rest of the footage, as you'll see, will be again gimbal free. The second thing I've noticed is because you don't have, you know, the bigger file sizes, you get the compressed files on the video, and I'm noticing that the footage looks way over sharpened, a little bit too compressed, which I'm not too keen on, but it doesn't look terrible. It still looks definitely usable. So yeah, I'm happy with how the video looks so far, and I guess it's time to board this plane and get flying.
Again and again and again and again, I'll be with you always. You don't need to be afraid. And I'll meet you up, I'll meet you at the end. I'll be with you always. You don't need to be afraid. I'll meet you up, meet you at the end.
So we just landed in Beijing. We have like 4 hours here before our next flight. We're exhausted. But yeah, it was funny actually, because you have to go through security after you get off your flight. And right after I did my air travel packing video thingy, they literally took every single piece of electronics out of our bag and put them in their own little tray. So rules are different in China for sure. And 11 more hours until London.
Don't you know what happens to dreams you don't follow? They crumble.
We arrived in London yesterday. I'm in Kent now, and one of the big advantages of jet lag, of traveling, is that if you don't fight it, sometimes it really works in your advantage. So it was like 3:30 in the morning, and I just woke up. And I was like, I cannot sleep anymore, so I'm gonna go out and take some pictures. So that's what I'm doing this morning. I'm heading to somewhere called Aylesford with the RP, and I've been shooting video on the RP for a while. I haven't taken a lot of photos, so I want to go test out the photo capabilities on this thing out there. And sadly, it's raining a little bit, so I guess we're gonna test the weather sealing a bit too.
You're getting so hollow, so cold. 'Cause you're thinking your pace, no time to waste. I wanna love you, but life doesn't work.
It's just after 5 in the morning, and yeah, it's raining. There's definitely not going to be a good sunrise. I'm just hoping I can maybe get some blue light photos of the view here, which does look really cool. One of the big reasons I bought the RP is because of lightness. I wanted to lighten my bag up, especially when it comes to vlogging. But I also really wanted a full frame because so often I'm out in situations like this where it's pre-sunrise or after sunrise or stars and it's dark, and that full frame camera just does way better at picking up low light. It does way better at creating a clean image in low light. And so far from what I've seen, I think the EOS RP really does pretty well in low light, like right now. So let's see how it does in photos in the rain this morning in the cold.
Taste the way you need to taste every mistake, fall out and get up again and again. Again and again and again and again. I'll be with you always. You don't need to be.
Wow, what a difference from Singapore. It's freezing cold, it's rainy, and it's windy, but it is beautiful. Look at the blue light I'm getting this morning. And just before the blue light came out, I did a bit of a low light test, and I'm gonna show you the images as I talk. For the low light test, I basically just tested the high ISO setting. So I took a shot at 12,800.
And I'll meet you up, I'll meet you at the. I'll be with you always. You don't need to be afraid.
6,400.
I'll meet you at the end.
3,200. 1,600. 800. 400. And from the back of the camera and zooming in, it looks like it really handles low light extremely well. So I'm actually quite impressed with this and the images I shot as tests in Singapore as well. Like I said, the blue light's happening. It looks okay. Not a lot of separation in the clouds, but I think I'm gonna take some shots during this blue light and then see what happens for sunrise.
No time to waste. I wanna love you, but life doesn't wait. You can't see it and waste away. I'll be with you always. You don't need to be afraid. And I'll meet you up. I'll meet you.
Okay, no sunrise this morning. Typical gray UK morning, and it's so cold that I'm just ready to pack up. I'm filming again on the RP. The R's in the bag. I've got the 24-70 on right now, which doesn't have image stabilization. Walk and talk to give you a bit of a look to see how it does handheld. There's no gorilla pod, no gimbal, just straight on the hand. We're leaving the UK already. We literally just stopped here for the day to drop off our summer gear and pick up our winter gear. So we're actually heading to Norway. So I'm gonna take you with me. We're gonna fly to Norway, and then I'm gonna sit down and talk about the RP, my thoughts, first impressions, and yeah, finish this video. So let's go to Norway.
So we're here in Norway, obviously, and there's a video coming from Norway. What you're gonna see is that I got really sick. Like, I don't think I've ever been as sick as I got here in Norway. I had this cold that just knocked me out for like a week. And so there is gonna be a video coming from Norway, but probably only one full one just because I was so sick. But before I end this video and before we get to future videos, let me talk quickly about the EOS RP. I have to say, I am impressed. I thought the RP was gonna be good. I kind of felt like it was gonna be that camera that did everything pretty good, but nothing spectacularly. I think that that's the case, but it probably does everything better than I thought it would. It does everything really good, but nothing spectacularly. I think the RP is just an unbelievable, not entry-level camera, like mid-level camera. Its sensor is great, the photos are coming out pretty beautifully, the video footage is stable, it's sharp, it doesn't look warpy, it's a little bit compressed. But overall, the Canon EOS RP is way better than I expected. I have regretted purchases in my past. When I first got the Canon EOS R, I kind of regretted it a little bit. I don't regret the RP at all. I would buy a dozen of these if I needed them. They're that good. So that's the end of this video, and I guess I'll see you guys on the next one where I'm gonna have some Norway stuff. Should be fun. Lots of beautiful landscapes here in the Lofoten Islands. I'll see you there. Peace.